Hello, class, and welcome back. We are now on 5.3, Development of the Brain and Nervous System. I'm Dr. Kennedy Paron, and I'm happy to have you in class today. So some important vocab to lead us off in this section. Nerves. So these are bundles of axons from many neurons. What is a neuron, you might ask? So a neuron is the basic unit of the nervous system. Think of the simplest unit. So they receive and send messages from one part of the body to another as a communication system. Next, we'll talk about the dendrites. So these are like root-like parts of the neuron. They look like tree roots that receive impulses from other neurons and communicate. Next is an axon. These are long, thin parts of the neurons that transmits impulses to one neuron to the other through small branch structures called axon terminals. And then we'll talk about the neurotransmitter. So a chemical substance that makes it possible for the transmission of neural impulses and signals from one neuron to another. So this is what makes the communication possible. This is a great representation from your book of what each part of these neurons look like. You can compare the view and the picture to the definitions if you would like. It's very much helpful if you like to learn visually. So next we're going to talk about the myelin sheath. These are neurons that are wrapped in a white fatty wrapping that allow for transmission of neural impulses. This is said to look like a sausage in a casing. Next, we'll talk about the process of myelination. So this is the process of white myelin being covered by the different axons, or covering the different axons, and this process is not complete at birth. It continues through childhood. Next, we will talk about an unfortunate disease called multiple sclerosis. This is a disease in which myelin is replaced by hard tissue, causing muscle control issues and sometimes paralyzation. So how does the brain develop? So the brain develops as the command center of the whole body. So the neurons in the brain provide the physical, social, and cognitive, and also personal development of the child. The brain for a baby is the 1/4 the size and weight of an adult brain, so only 25% of the size of an adult brain. The medulla is a part of the brain, and it's oblong in shape. And it's part of the hindbrain involving the heart rate and breathing. That's what that controls. So each part of the brain actually controls a different functioning. The cerebellum is part of the hindbrain as well, but it involves balance and muscle coordination. So even though they're in the same spot in the brain next to each other, they do not control the same functions. The brain has growth spurts in very many different ways. So one way is gaining the neurons. This is completed at birth. The second type of growth spurt happens at 25 weeks prenatal in gestational process and goes until the second year of life. This process has to do with the axon and dendrite formation that is not done at birth. So that'll be till the age of 2. So brain development in infancy. So there is a said link between the myelination in the brain and what the infant is able to do. So at birth, the parts of the brain that allow for heartbeat, breath, swimming, sleep, arousal, reflexes, very functional and very well myelinated. However, myelination of motor pathways allows for babies to have reflexes, which we talked about last chapter. So how do nature and nurture interact and affect the development of the brain? So areas of the brain that control sensation and also movement for the baby begin due to maturation, which is growing, changing, maturing. But the sensory stimulation and motor development help with this as well. So then we have the sensory stimulation shows growth in the cortex of the brain. This can be found with research done on animals. So human brains develop and are impacted by the experiences that the person has. Likewise, the brain is nourished and also plays a large role in development. So next we will talk about 5.4, motor development and how we move.